Thomas Jefferson was born in Shadwell, Virginia, into a well-known family. He had 6 sisters and 2 brothers, and was the third oldest kid. His interests included astronomy and horticulture, which is the practice of gardening.
He played the violin as a young boy and continued to practice it into his adulthood. He attended the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, and studied law. He married Martha Wales Skelton, and they had 7 children together.
He inherited the Shadwell property at age 26 and cleared land on a mountaintop and built Monticello, his house and plantation that he repeatedly remodeled and decorated.
Jefferson was elected to the House of Burgesses in 1769. He also endorsed a petition to the king asking to end Parliament's taxing on Americans.
Once the coercive acts were passed, he abandoned his legal career and became devoted to full-time politics. He was in the committee that denied Parliament's authority to levy taxes in Virginia.
Soon after, a summary of the rights of British America was constructed, which intended to instruct Virginia's delegates to the First Continental Congress. It essentially emphasized natural rights and denied Parliament having the right to rule the colonies. It established him as a radical politician.
He went on to discuss his ideas with John Adams and Benjamin Franklin and wrote the well-known Declaration of Independence. The document explains why the 13 colonies wanted to be free from Britain and lay down the rights and freedoms of the people.
He was the main author of this document, which stated revolutionary philosophies and described the Patriots' case against the King of England.
Jefferson had written many of his reasons to separate from the British in the Declaration of Independence, a few of which included:
He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislature.
For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for imposing taxes on us without our consent.
He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance.
He included the well-known line, "All men are created equal," that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. It was drafted and then adopted on July 4, 1776. However, his writing was seen as hypocritical.
This is really boring.
I feel like there's a better way to do this. I've got this, guys.
Thomas Jefferson, from a well-known kin down in Virginia, coming off some wins. The first one being he got educated at William and Mary. He graduated.
Then he studied the law, leaving everyone in awe. He was a founding father, not a bother.
Important to our nation, that's a fact. I'll give you the citation. He wrote the Declaration of Independence, so we could have freedom with no dependence. Check my student view, I got good attendance. On Disney Channel you can watch The Descendants.
He was a little hypocritical, not gonna lie. He just wasn't that great of a guy. His moral flaws don't deserve applause, but he made great laws. You would say he was the cause.
It wasn't all negative, he did some great things. For instance, he got rid of kings. He was in the government, pulling the strings, thinking he could fix just anything.
Jefferson, an anti-federalist. Hamilton wanted to give him the fist, but they had to coexist.
Yeah, they disagreed a lot, hit him in his blind spot. Yeah, they really stirred the pot till Hamilton got shot.
Thomas Jefferson preached for individual liberties, but always contradicted himself on his stance by owning slaves himself.
Jefferson owned slaves throughout his life, even though he constructed a plan for the gradual emancipation of slaves.
He continuously contradicted himself on his stance to slavery by writing, "All men are created equal" in the Declaration of Independence, although he truly believed African Americans were biologically inferior to white men and the two races could not coexist with one another.
He had owned around 600 slaves in his life, releasing only a few in his will and leaving the rest to be sold upon his death. He had sexual relations with his 13-year-old slave, Sally. The two of them had many kids, which Jefferson left enslaved. He was this country's third president, ain't the first or the second, but he was content. A strong central government he tried to prevent, a whole new country he did invent.
820,000 miles, created new American lifestyles. It was the Louisiana Purchase, yo. It cost a good amount of dough.
brand new frontier to explore. The people really did adore. Remember, during the war, we shook Britain to its core, yet we left them pretty sore.
They started capturing our ships.
Yeah.
We had to pass an act.
Yeah.
The Embargo Act of 1807.
Yeah.
AA. No more foreign trade.
Yeah.
Made the people mad, for the economy it was bad. Finally he cracked, so he repealed the act. Britain we attacked, yeah they got smacked.
No shot third term, moved to Monticello. Takes out his dentures every time he eats some jello. He's getting old now, struggling just to say hello. All he can do now is see a spot filled with some fellows.
Yeah, the old loser on July 4th he died. It was about time, his waist was getting pretty wide. Many health problems died at his bedside. When his wife found out, she took a joyride.
In 1775, he was selected as a delegate to the Second Continental Congress. Jefferson then was re-elected to the Virginia House of Delegates.
He wrote the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, which was passed by Virginia lawmakers in 1786. It protected the people's right to worship as they choose.
From 1779 to 1781, he was the governor of Virginia. When the British attacked, he was forced to flee and leave Monticello behind.
Then, from 1781 to 1783, he used his private time to write notes on the state of Virginia. This founding father became the U.S. Minister to France in 1785. This prohibited him from attending the Constitutional Convention.
When he returned to America, Washington appointed him as Secretary of State. During this time, he argued particularly with Alexander Hamilton over foreign policy and their interpretations of the U.S. Constitution.
Jefferson was responsible for co-founding the Democratic-Republican Party, which opposed Hamilton's and the Federalist Party views.
He ran for president in 1796 but lost the election to John Adams, so he became the vice president. In 1800 he ran against Adams again. However, the electoral votes were tied for Jefferson and Aaron Burr. The House of Representatives broke the tie and elected Jefferson as the third president of the United States.
In 1803, he famously purchased the Louisiana Territory from France that made America double in size.
He successfully wins another term as president against Charles Pinckney.
During this time, his main priority was trying to keep his country out of Europe's Napoleonic Wars, in which Great Britain and France were fighting.
He implemented the embargo of 1807 that closed U.S. ports to foreign trade in response to the European countries that were harassing American merchant ships. The act was, however, repealed due to its unpopularity and detrimental effects on the U.S. economy.
Despite Jefferson's efforts to remain neutral, the U.S. went to war with Britain in 1812.
He did not run for a third term and instead lived at Monticello and helped found the University of Virginia.
He died, ironically, on July 4th, 1826, Independence Day.
Thomas Jefferson liked to have a little fun with underage slaves when they misbehave.
Now one main example of this was Sally. She was only 13 when she dilly-dallied.
The two of them, he was the mountain to her valley. If this would have happened today, you would have rallied.
She even had a son with him, scratched that a few kids. When she asked him to be freed, he flipped his lid. Now that's no way to treat your own kid. That ain't gonna earn you no presidential bid.
But no one found out. Sally ain't no snitch, though he would've deserved it, that son of a...